All right, it is Friday. You know what that means. It is time for Smack Talk here on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter channels. I am Rick Ucchino, back in the saddle once again, joined as always by Denise Salcedo. It is a new year, Denise. We started off with a brand new episode of SmackDown. Not too bad, to be completely honest with you. I have to be honest up front. I kind of missed the whole last half hour. It's been a saga for me today. I'll explain. But Denise, how's your new year going on so far?
First of all, I'm excited to be here. We're starting the new year 2021 here with you once again, Rick. So thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. And honestly, it was a pretty decent episode of SmackDown. Like, aside from like the big, news story that we'll get into from tonight, I thought that overall it was a decent show. It flowed really well and it didn't feel like 2 hours. It probably felt like a 40-ish minute show.
It dragged on for me just a little bit, but that's because I was watching while I was at work. Like this was my first day back at my actual job, my normal everyday newsroom job. And I'll be honest, I wasn't quite ready to go back yet. I really have been enjoying these last 2 weeks, with my family. Wasn't ready to leave, my kids for 8 hours, but I had to do it. I had to go back. And then, UC losing in a heartbreaking fashion at the Peach Bowl. I couldn't get my equipment to work. I was supposed to do the show tonight from my office.
You were?
Yeah, I couldn't get my camera to work. So luckily, my relief, because I got off at 10 o'clock. So I was kind of double dipping, watching SmackDown while I was at work. Luckily, we were running bowl games because I work at a radio station, so I didn't have a whole lot to do. But I'm watching SmackDown while I'm doing my work, and then I was supposed to do the show at 10 o'clock from the newsroom, but I couldn't get my camera to work. So luckily, my relief came in a half hour early, so I could book it home, set my camera back up, and then send the link to you, and we can get this show going. So it's been a day. It has been a day. It's been a bit of a drag, but I am here. It was an exciting SmackDown for one reason in particular.
Hold on, Rick. Hold the phone. The phone. Can we quickly get some quick baby updates? We haven't seen you since the new baby arrived, and I'm sure everybody here wants to know some quick baby updates.
Well, Ray is fantastic. He is awesome. He's doing great. Mom is doing great. Rebecca loves her new baby brother. She's a 2-year-old, but I will say her temper tantrums have just grown exponentially.
Oh, she's probably feeling a little jealous.
Oh yeah, because she's used to being the center of attention in mommy's world. That's how it goes. And now all of a sudden it's like, well, mama's feeding the baby, so you're gonna have to get dad love. And then it's like, no, dad. I want mama.
Nobody wants dad, Rick.
Nobody wants dad, Rick, except if mama's not at home. And then she's like, okay, dad hugs. But everybody's doing great. It was a fun 2 weeks. I appreciate you you filling in these last couple of weeks, even though you gave me some crap on Twitter about taking time off.
Oh, I gave you some on air too. Last week's show, I went off the last few minutes. I went on I'm gonna be really angry at Rick's rant. That's what I did that's how I ended how I ended last year. I was pissed at you.
I'm sorry. Had I known you were having the issues that you were having, I would have happily jumped on at the last minute there, but I really didn't get a whole lot. I didn't get a whole lot of free time over these last 2 weeks, so it'd be a miracle if I make it through this half hour. But we do appreciate all the comments we are getting in from Ozzy and Ryan and Paul and Marcus and Lori and Mike, talking about wishing us a happy new year. And hey, you know what, Ozzy? Yeah, how about them Bengals? They've won 2 in a row. And actually, my son Ray might be the lucky charm because he lives in a world where the Cincinnati Bengals have never lost, including a win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we're going to go for 3-0. Exactly. We're going to go for 3-0 this weekend. Seeing a lot of comments, Denise, excited, just as excited as I am. I told you this was a rough day for me. I was having a bad start to my 2021, and then all of a sudden it
already?
Yes, it completely washed away when Sonya Deville popped back up on my television screen, and there was a smile just ear to ear on my face, just an involuntary reaction. I was absolutely stunned to see her back on television. I have no idea what she's doing. It was very, very brief. She's walking past all the people in the hallway, giving them nods, giving them winks. Everybody's looking, giving nods of approval. I think everybody's happy to have Sonya Deville back. I can't wait till next week to see what she's going to do.
So I have a lot to say about this. First of all, it's a great way to kick off the new year, kick off the first show of WWE, the first SmackDown of the year. It's like, you got to have some new and exciting stuff, right? And honestly, I wasn't expecting her return tonight whatsoever. So it did come as a surprise when everybody was like, I saw, because unfortunately my SmackDown stream was like maybe 30 seconds behind everybody. So on Twitter, I saw that everybody had said that Sonya was back. So I got the spoilers on Twitter, and then like 30 seconds later, I got it on my screen. So, but either way, and the cool thing about it is that you mentioned that she's walking down the hallway, she's getting the nods of approval and all of that. What it felt like to me was kind of like, all right, the cool girl's back at school. She's back. She's here to run the school, etc. Those are the sort of vibes I got. And I'm really excited because Sonya Deville was that person that I think really, really broke out of who she was from like the start. Like if you think of Sonya Deville, the first Sonya Deville that you met when she first came into WWE to the last Sonya Deville that we just got to know last year, I mean, it's really been this very drastic difference. And she's had this amazing glow up. The glow up that every person wants to have. Sonya Deville had it, and it was last year. And so I'm really excited to sort of see her get that momentum back that she had. And I think she's going to get it because, as we mentioned in the Sportskeeda Awards that we did, she was one of those people that cut some amazing promo work. Yeah. And I do think that we're going to see that again this year.
Yeah, if you guys missed that, by the way, the first ever Scammy Awards debuted last night at 8 o'clock. We closed out the crappy year that was 2020 in the best way possible. That is up on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to the channel as well, by the way, guys, for more content like that. Plus, all the Smack Talks are there. Every single one of them. So if you want to go back and listen to Denise's rant about me last week, you can do it right after we're done here. You're right. Like Sonya Deville to me was the breakout star last year, and then it just abruptly ended, and we all know why, and I'm not going to focus on any of that, but just the fact that she was cooking with gas. Like every single time she was on the screen, it was just star power. You knew she had it. She's great in the ring. She's money on the mic, and she had this very real, very relatable character. Like I know she was playing the heel last year, but for me, I was on Team Sonya. I was on Team Sonya all the way.
I wasn't. I love Sonya, but I wasn't on Team Sonya. I know what kind of human you are, Rick. You just want to tear your friends apart from the relationships that they're in. I don't know. I think you just admitted to something here, Rick.
No, because I saw through it. Fire and Desire was always about Mandy Rose. It was never about Sonya Deville. She was always living in the shadows, and it was so great to see her break out of that. And I had her pegged last year as being like the next big, up and comer, the next woman maybe to break out of this domination that has been the Four Horsewomen and Asuka. And I actually wrote a piece about this week for Daily DDT. Have you noticed that in the past 2 years since SummerSlam of 2018, nobody outside of the Four Horsewomen, Asuka, and then of course Ronda Rousey's one run has won a main event championship? It has been completely wild. It's been completely dominated, especially even with Ronda gone. So go back to WrestleMania 35. It's been the Four Horsewomen and Asuka. That's been it. They haven't elevated anybody else with all the talent that they have.
And we almost got there with Rhea Ripley. Almost got there with Rhea. It looked like they were going there with Shayna. Didn't happen. Bianca Belair lost again this week. At least she didn't eat the pin. We'll get to that. I thought Sonya Deville had all the makings to be there, and then she had 4 months of her 2020 just completely ripped away from her. And which is crazy about that too, because 4 months isn't really a lot, but because 2020 felt like 10 years in one, it sort of felt like that was forever ago, and Sonya was essentially, on fire at, the top of her game. And that's unfortunate because she really did have an impactful year.
Were you shocked to see her show up back on SmackDown?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I will say that I will say that even though I do think that we probably need her more on Raw, just because, you want to keep building that star power in the women's division, and Raw needs it a lot more than SmackDown. But at the same time, it kind of feels like SmackDown is the appropriate place for her. That was A, the last place that she was seen. B, it just feels like that's where you would place somebody like Sonya Deville.
I'm wondering now because like I had it in my head. I don't know if this is any merit to this, but I had it in my head that Bianca Belair was like the favorite for the Royal Rumble. Like they're slowly starting
now.
Right. She's slowly starting to build her up a little bit, even though she hasn't gotten any of those marquee wins. Maybe she finally gets over Bayley at some point, but I had her pegged in my mind. Okay, they're starting to move toward maybe Bianca and pushing her towards that championship, because even Corey Graves has brought it up several times that she's a future women's champion. They don't say stuff like that on television unless they plan on getting in there.
They say it every week.
Yeah, exactly. So they have been hyping up Bianca, and Bianca does a great job of hyping up Bianca. She just hasn't had the results yet. So I thought, okay, maybe we're going to go that direction. But now that Sonya Deville is back, and you look at after Sasha's done with Carmella, if they want to keep doing the babyface heel persona, maybe Sonya Deville's now the favorite to win the Royal Rumble. I don't know.
See, and I'm okay with that. Well, first of all, I'm okay with the fact that we have options, okay? Yeah. The fact that there are lots of women that you're just thinking, oh my God, I would like to see this person win the Royal Rumble. I would like to see her win the Royal Rumble. It makes me happy that we have options. Like I wouldn't mind seeing Bianca win the Royal Rumble. I wouldn't mind seeing, Sonya Deville win the Royal Rumble. And there's so many other people that I'm like, man, if we, pool some of those people in here, like if they were to have Rhea Ripley go in there, or somebody like, there's options. And I think that's the best part, where it could kind of go any direction. And if anything, that adds more excitement to the Royal Rumble versus the fact when you usually just have like the two people where you're like, okay, they're going to go to this person, and if it doesn't go to that person, it's going to go to this person.
Right. And I think that's what I like so much about the 2018 Royal Rumble, is because I genuinely had no clue who was going to win it. Like I had hopes, like you heard those rumblings that Shinsuke Nakamura was going to win the Royal Rumble, and I had hopes that it would be him. I didn't actually think it was going to happen. So when it did happen and he eliminated Roman Reigns, it was great. Biggest pop of the night for me, that's in that 2018 Royal Rumble, with Shinsuke Nakamura winning it. They completely wasted it, but it is what it is at this point, especially when you see where Shinsuke is now in his WWE career, and we'll get to that coming up here in a little bit. But yeah, like you said, options. You look at the top of the card in the women's division on SmackDown, stacked. Just absolutely stacked.
We haven't even talked about Bayley.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, is like you got Bayley and Sasha Banks. Those are your A+. Those have been carrying all year, but now you add Bianca Belair into the mix. You're starting to utilize her. Carmella is back. She looks like she has a major role on SmackDown. Now you add Sonya Deville to the mix, and then you have the Riot Squad, which you have been featuring on television for the last 3 weeks. So that is a very stacked women's roster, which is why I was kind of surprised to see Sonya Deville on SmackDown, because I think she could have been used more on Raw. But I think they also want to keep her and Mandy apart, because like that's, even though Mandy's doing her own thing in her tag team with Dana Brooke, I think they wanted to keep them separated and let Sonya Deville branch out and do her own thing now.
Yeah, just more. There's more options for, like, as much as they could have done a lot with her on Raw, there is more options though, I think, on SmackDown for her, specifically speaking, Sonya Deville.
Yeah, and by the way, when I said favorite to win the Royal Rumble, that's not a report, that's not a rumor or anything. That's just my like gut feeling, because it could very easily be somebody else, completely different. I still think Rhea Ripley is an option as well, but again, we have a lot of options.
Whoever I usually want to win the Royal Rumble, it's usually not that person. The only time I was ever right was Drew McIntyre last year, and that was it. But every time I'm like, oh, this is the person that I think should win the Royal Rumble, it's never that person.
Yeah, I think Drew was just the obvious choice last year too. Everybody kind of really wanted to see that happen, because in 2019, Drew McIntyre, like, he was that guy where it's like, oh, well, now it's going to be Drew's time to shine. Well, Drew was the favorite for the Royal Rumble in 2019. He was the favorite to win King of the Ring. He was the favorite to win Money in the Bank. He didn't win any of them. He was Shane McMahon's Bobo in 2019. That was it. So when he finally won it in 2020, yeah, everybody was happy. And now, of course, he was our, spoiler alert, Superstar of the Year this year. Scammy Award winners. Make sure to go watch that. So I'm really excited to see what Sonya Deville is going to have in store for her, or what she's going to be doing moving forward. Especially, she was a heel going out. everybody's going to be excited to see her back in the ring. Do they stick with that heel persona, or do they kind of morph it a little bit into that badass babyface role that we've been missing this year with Becky Lynch out?
I think we'll get the babyface role, especially because who else is really doing that right now at SmackDown? I mean, obviously besides Sasha Banks.
Yeah, and that's it. Bianca's a babyface, but she's like,
true, but she's not supremely focused on, like, I mean, she is, but she's not. She's still at a different level. They're still pushing her as like a rookie, as a newcomer, as an up and coming person.
Yeah. She's just different. Maybe babyface is the wrong word to use for Sonya. Like, just give me that anti-hero, that tweener where she doesn't give a crap who you are. She's going to beat the hell out of you because she's all about Sonya Deville and accomplishing her goals. Paul, hang on, jump. There we go. Paul writes, Sonya Deville should have come back at the Royal Rumble. That would have gotten a huge pop. Yes, it was. But you know what? I think this was a good moment. I think this was a good time. There wasn't an inkling of a rumor around this. There was no chirp. WWE pulled this surprise out of their hat, and I applaud them for it. Like, the longer you start waiting on things, the longer you drag it out, that's when the rumors start coming around, whether or not somebody catches her Jumbotron entrance, or we've seen that happen before and things like that. So I like this because I didn't see it coming. I wasn't expecting it. I was pleasantly surprised, and I'm so happy to see Sonya Deville get back. Let's see what else we got going on here. Mike says Bianca, Sonya, Charlotte, or Rhea may win the Rumble. I would be very disappointed if Charlotte Flair won the Royal Rumble for a second consecutive year. Literally, guys, look at this. As I mentioned earlier, from August of 2018 until present day, the Four Horsewomen and Asuka have absolutely dominated the women's division. At some point, Denise, you got to give somebody else a chance to run with the ball. They're all great. They're all great. They're not going away anytime soon, especially when Becky comes back. You know she's going to be pushed right back into the limelight. So you got to eventually build up somebody else and give somebody else a shot, especially with all the talent you have.
Well, just fans are always, excited for something new. That's what it is, something new. And as much as, like, I'm a big fan of Charlotte, and I'm sure a lot of people here are too. I think it's not necessarily like, oh, we just don't want to see Charlotte win. It's just you want to see something new, something different.
Elijah Washington, Rick and Denise, remember that loss for Sonya Deville? Will she get her NXT name or a new gimmick, something similar to like Victoria? That's an interesting point, because when Sonya Deville lost that matchup to Mandy Rose at SummerSlam, I think it was Kayla Braxton who caught up with her backstage, and she said, never call me by that name again. So
I didn't remember that.
You don't remember that?
No, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So Sonya said, never call me by that name again. And now she's coming back, and all of her social media stuff still says Sonya Deville, and WWE on social media referred to her as Sonya Deville.
Hey, if I forgot about that, they probably forgot about that too. Who knows? Who knows?
Maybe
we'll find out next week.
We will find out next week. I did think that it was very, I don't know if lazy is the right word, but it was just kind of weird where it's like, oh, here's Sonya Deville, instead of, oh my God, what she's doing here, and leaving that as a cliffhanger for next week. It was Michael Cole saying, well, she's been reinstated. She was fired. What? She wasn't suspended. She didn't take leave. She was reinstated. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense at all. Phil, I agree with you. I'm so glad. Seriously, that made my day. Seeing Sonya Deville on my TV screen for 18 seconds just absolutely made my day. Make sure to get your comments in, guys. We appreciate the 70 people who are watching right now and the 33 people who have engaged with us so far. Get those engagements in, whether we make you sad, happy, cry, laugh, whatever. It really does help grow our audience. Let's move on. Let's go back to the start of the show, Denise, because this opened up with Roman Reigns, flanked by Jey Uso and Paul Heyman. He cuts a promo about how he saved Paul Heyman after he was cast away or discarded on Monday Night Raw, turned his cousin into a main eventer, and then KO interrupts, and Roman just won't even let him speak. And dude, like it was a rap battle, just starts cutting KO down to size, calling him a social media darling.
Social media sweetheart.
Social media sweetheart, excuse me, who should be grateful for the big payday that he gave him. And I hope he was able to give his family a good Christmas. That was such a great line. That before KO even got a chance to talk, I'm like, Okay, KO is one of the best on the mic, and he's going to have a good response, and he did have a good response. But Roman, in my mind, already won the exchange by dropping those lines. It was good stuff.
Yeah, the social media sweetheart I thought was pretty hilarious because he's essentially like there's always layers. I like to read in between the lines to these things, especially when it comes to Roman, who's somebody who's doing great promo work. But it's funny because, yeah, everybody on social media was like, oh, I love Kevin Owens and Kevin Owens this and Kevin Owens that. And the fact that Roman Reigns like threw a nod to that, I thought was pretty darn hilarious. And the thing, though, that I mainly liked about this is that we just had, that great TLC match between them. We all loved it. All of that, right? But this whole situation, this whole feud, this whole storyline with Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns still feels really hot. It's, even though we just had like this big match, it still feels like a big deal, and I'm still excited to see what else they can do. And that's exciting because I know for a while when it was the whole Drew Randy Orton thing, they had several matches back to back, and not everybody felt that way about that feud. A lot of people thought, okay, it's dragging on way too long now, and that could easily happen. But I definitely do not see that happening with this feud right now. Because even the way that they closed out SmackDown, I thought was fantastic. And I feel like for a long time, we haven't really been getting, a great spotlight on Kevin Owens. We've all known that he could be that guy in that spotlight because we've seen shades of it in the past, but it had been a while until we got him there. And now I just like what he's doing with Roman Reigns because he's really matching that energy. Right now, you just said that you knew that Kevin Owens was going to have a great response, and he did. And that's the awesome part about this, is that he is somebody that can feed off of, Roman Reigns. And you don't necessarily want Roman Reigns to just, be so up here that he doesn't have anybody matching his level of charisma or his level of, everything that he's bringing to the ring. It makes it so much better when you have the polar opposite bringing that much fire to match Roman Reigns' fire. And so I love everything that they're doing and everything that we saw tonight from both of them.
Yeah, I don't have an issue at all with this feud continuing. I guess my only question is how does it end? Like, how do Kevin Owens has literally said, you have to kill me to get rid of me. Well, we know they can't do that. Maybe, I don't know.
Hey, Randy Orton just burned a man. He possibly burned Alexa Bliss, so maybe you could kill a man.
I don't know. I never thought we'd have an eye for an eye match, but we had that in 2020. A man literally lost his eye and then magically regained it by the time the year wound down. So I guess anything is possible. Maybe we just have a celebrity death match at is that a reference you even got, by the way? Celebrity?
Yes, I do. But okay. I wanted to say that I don't think I necessarily but I don't necessarily think I'm concerned about how this is all going to end, because at the end of the day, I just want to see a great storyline. I want to see some great matches, and however it is that we end this thing, I just want to see some good stuff. And now I feel that at the end of this, we're still going to have Roman Reigns as champion, which is great because I've said this so many times. I like long title reigns, and I love for people to just grow and grow and grow until they feel like almost completely unstoppable. And so that's probably why I'm not necessarily all that oh, how is this going to end? How is this going to end? I don't care. I just want to see some good matches, and I want to see some good, I want to feel invested in the storyline that I'm seeing each and every single week, especially if I'm going to be out here talking about it. I want to be invested in it.
I'm trying to think of the next progression, because we went from TLC to a cage match to... Obviously, this isn't stopping. Daniel Bryan is already in the Royal Rumble, so the rumors about Daniel Bryan possibly being his Roman Reigns opponent at the Royal Rumble, that's not going to end up being the case. So it looks like Kevin Owens is going to get another shot at the Royal Rumble. At least that's the progression I'm seeing here. Are we going to get Jey Uso in a shark cage above the ring? Is that going to be the only way that this is going to be able to go down? It'll be Jey Uso in a shark cage, and then that's when Jimmy Uso will come down and cost Kevin Owens the matchup, right? That's where we're headed. Isn't that where we're headed? I think that's where we're headed.
Hey, like you said, we had an eye for an eye match. We had a swamp fight. We had people being burned alive. I mean, at this point, anything can happen.
By the way, I do want to say, because I was off the air when it happened, I loved the hell out of that Inferno match. I absolutely did. I loved the ending. It was so damn good. I didn't get a chance to talk about it. I saw people crapping on it. I didn't get a chance to defend it. I absolutely loved it. Jared said that Owens needs to win the title from Roman Reigns. Needs. That's a strong word. Needs. Do you agree with that, Denise?
No, as much as I love Kevin Owens and as much as I think that he is awesome, I just prefer the bout right now on Roman because I think there is still so much potential there and so much stuff that you can do with that, with him as champion.
I don't think he's going to drop that anytime soon. I think I've said this before. WrestleMania may be at the earliest, but as we go further along, I'm legit wondering who his opponent at WrestleMania is going to be. And with Big E now the Intercontinental Champion, I don't think he's going to be the guy at WrestleMania, even though I wanted that to be an option. Kevin Owens, this thing should wrap up by the Royal Rumble, or they may even continue it, but I doubt it gets all the way to WrestleMania. Is it Daniel Bryan? Does Daniel Bryan win the Royal Rumble? Maybe.
Look at how much has changed since he won the title. I mean, he had this whole thing with Jay, and then he had this, this brief but impactful, storyline with Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
It was brief, but it was what it was. And now he's going into this Kevin Owens thing, and that was like all within a span of such a it was all pretty tied up there. And so I almost feel like we don't know where we're going to be at by the time WrestleMania hits.
You just gave me a great idea.
What is it?
We do have a WWE Championship match on Monday, do we not? Keith Lee shocks the world, beats Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre wins the Royal Rumble for the second year in a row, challenges Roman Reigns.
I don't think so.
Inject it into my veins right now.
No, plus I just feel like, no, I'm out on this one.
Run that back. Run that Drew McIntyre Roman Reigns match back. Do it. And then give Keith Lee the WWE Championship. Why not?
I don't think it's going to happen. I'm out on this one, Rick. I can't support you on this one.
Let's just go crazy. Denise, you're going to lose sooner or later. I just do a lot. I do a lot of random fantasy booking, and most of the time it sucks.
See, I'm not a fantasy booker. I've never been that type of fan. Never. I mean, I have dream matches, and I'll be like, oh, man, like my dream match is this, but I don't fantasy book, though. It's not my thing.
I try to figure things out. Rob Ross asking, is Goldberg still fighting Roman? Probably. Yeah. He doesn't need to. Yeah. Probably.
There's your answer, Rick. You were wondering who would be.
Yeah.
There it is.
That's probably what's going to be. Hey, Zane bringing up a good point. Jericho,
and you know what? Hold on. I'm going to be there to troll you just like you were there to troll me with the whole Miz thing. I will be there. Karma will come back to you, Rick.
Hey, the Miz thing's not over. The Miz thing's not over. He's got his briefcase back, baby.
And then you're gonna get a really nice package from me at your door. It's gonna be very, very nice, warm, crisp, tasty tortillas.
I was gonna say, I have no idea where that is going.
I know. I extended it out. I was just using all the adjectives I could think of to describe our tortilla.
You talked about dropping something on my doorstep that was nice and warm, and I got very concerned.
Rick, I was not going that direction whatsoever.
I mean, I'm sitting here like, you're in LA. I'm in Cincinnati. How are you going to drop anything on my doorstep that's warm? Like, what are you doing? How is this possible?
Find a way. Fine, then. I will drop off at your door those beautiful tortillas and a microwave.
Well, you got Sean Ross Sapp a toaster, so you know what? Yeah, did they make a WWE microwave?
I will find one, or you put your tortilla in the waffle maker.
Ooh, there we go. That's always good. All right, we've completely gotten off of the rails here. Let's see, what else do we have here? Harold says three-way at the Rumble: Lee versus McIntyre versus Sheamus. Miz cashes in to become the winner.
No, Harold, my man, what are you doing to me, Harold?
Everybody just tries to troll you out on this one. Eric says Owens needs some help, but I have a feeling that Owens is going to acknowledge Roman more, maybe at the Royal Rumble, possibly be his henchman. I don't see that at all. I don't think Kevin Owens is ever going to take the Jey Uso route and just
it would utterly kill Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is the guy that he's those guys that you're like, oh, I have hope for because he's relatable. He's a guy like you and I. Well, I mean, I'm not a guy, but if I were a guy, I could see myself being a Kevin Owens type of guy. Like, you know what? I take no BS from anybody. I'm gonna, be a man. I'm gonna fight whoever it is, even if he's a million times bigger than me, stronger than me, faster than me. Don't matter because I'm Kevin Owens and I'm gonna, come for you.
Denise is fired up tonight. I like it. Tom says Keith Lee versus Roman Reigns. I would not be mad at that either. I'm all aboard the Keith Lee train. Like I was Really hyped when they brought him up. I was especially hyped when he beat Randy Orton clean. I was expecting him to get the hot shot lightning treatment, and then they didn't do anything with him for 4 months. So
I get on and off that Keith Lee train depending on how he's booked every week. Sometimes I'm like, this is great. I was on the train for a long time, and then I got off.
I mean, he was white. He's one of these guys, just like Rhea Ripley, who was white hot. And then they take everything away from him because they call him up to the main roster, the air quotes main roster, and then they didn't do anything with him. And I'm just like,
exactly.
Why do you call people up if you have no plan to use them immediately in anything substantial? It just didn't make any sense. Anywho, so
it was a rocky year for Keith Lee, if you think about it. If you're going to think of a roller coaster of a year, I think Keith Lee is one of them. I mean, he was double champion, forfeited the bout, moved to the main roster, got some wins, didn't get some wins. I mean, the guy has just been like up and down on that roller coaster.
I'm both curious and worried for how this championship matchup is going to end on Monday. But it's a Keith Lee match on Raw, so chances are it's going to end in a disqualification.
I'll rephrase, it's a Raw match. Chances are it's going to end in a disqualification. I narrowed it down for you.
Chris and Vince Russo will break all of that down for you guys on the Raw this Monday after the show. So make sure to tune into that here on the SK Wrestling YouTube channel. So they start off the night, and then we kind of see, Jay and Kevin and Roman throughout the night. I love the stuff with Adam Pearce tonight, and I am genuinely afraid for his well-being after he made that matchup between Jey Uso and Kevin Owens tonight in the main event that ended in KO getting the win and then getting absolutely destroyed, and including, I believe, again, if those are just joining, I missed the last half hour. I was listening. I didn't hear it, or I didn't see it, but I think he got thrown off of the stage through a table.
He was on the area where they have the Thunderdome, like the screens for the viewers. You know how they have like rows, and there's spaces in between those screens. So they were up there. So they were like, I think it's like was the right side of the stage. And then like after beating him up afterwards, Roman threw him down, and it was a pretty far drop, and he landed onto like a couple of tables that were like, I think they had like a black sheet over them. So it was a pretty good spot, actually. It was a nice bump for him. That's for sure.
It's Kevin Owens. If he's going to get thrown off of something, he's going to throw himself off of something. So we know he's down to do that. That wasn't really the ending I was anticipating, though. I was expecting Adam Pearce to be involved in the ending in some way, especially when Roman Reigns found out that Pearce was the one that made that match. And then, maybe they'll revisit this, because there was that, again, typically they don't drop things on television unless they plan to revisit it. So Kevin Owens talking about having history with Adam Pearce and how they traveled and were friends, and he kind of manipulated him there into having that match. They showed some kind of a bond there. Roman Reigns, if he wants to seek some revenge on Kevin Owens, like I said, I have a bad feeling for Adam Pearce moving forward, especially after that. And then after we now found out that he has history with Kevin Owens, and that's now canon and storyline. If I'm Adam Pearce, I'm not showing up to SmackDown next week.
You know what? I like what they're doing with this, because it would make sense for, somebody like Roman to start getting upset at the person who's the authority figure. So I'm excited to see where they're going to go with this. And I don't think Adam Pearce is going to take it lying down. They've established him enough to where he has that respect that you would have of your manager at your job or whatever. Like he has garnered that type of respect, especially the character that he's been doing. He's been doing it really well. And so I don't necessarily think he's going to be like those GMs that just get pushed all over the place and do whatever the talent wants. I don't think it's going to be that easy for them to, just push around Adam Pearce. So I'm kind of excited to see how that friction is going to work between them. And I did like the ending of SmackDown. That was a pretty fun way to end the show. And I feel like Kevin Owens wants to do so much crazy stuff that he is just waiting to take any opportunity that he possibly can to do whatever crazy stuff that he can possibly get his hands on.
I think the dude just loves getting his butt kicked. Like he genuinely just loves doing this and is willing to put his body through whatever. for the love of the game, and it is absolutely to be commended. Paul, so Roman Reigns being in the company as long as he has been, doesn't know who made the match, doesn't appreciate him. Then Heyman comes and tells him it's Adam Pearce that made that pitch. Duh, who else would it have been? These writers sometimes. I actually saw that criticism on Twitter as well, and I'm just going to say this. Roman Reigns has turned into Brock Lesnar. He doesn't watch the damn show. He does. He sits in the back and just chills until somebody tells him, hey, or until he decides that he wants to go out and do his thing. Well, he doesn't watch the show. Come on.
It was last week too, where Sammy was yelling at the social media correspondent because he was trying to figure out, I think, who made the match or something, or who told her to post it up on social media, something like that. So we did see shades of this last week too.
Yeah, and Adam Pearce isn't the GM. Like, he's the on-screen like matchmaker, but he doesn't have an official title. There are other people. Oh God, the redheaded dude. I can't remember his name now.
Oh yeah, I'm blanking on his name too. But yeah, I know who you're talking about. The
guy who got thrown through the table by Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. Like, there are other authority figures out there who have the ability, other producers who have the ability to make matches official. Adam Pearce is just the head guy. Again, there is no GM. There's no like really on-screen, we are the authority, but Adam Pearce has taken on that role. It's kind of morphed as time has gone on. And I think he has done a really, really good job. Speaking of former GMs though, Denise, was this like a Teddy Long memorial show with the amount of tag team matches that we got? What were there, like 4 or 5 tag team matches?
I don't mind it though. I mean, there were like, for example, like the women's match, so we'll might as well just talk about it now. With Billie Kay, Tamina, Natalya, and the Riot Squad, I don't necessarily want Billie Kay just to be like the manager, cheerleader type role. I would like to also see her, get her hands dirty a little bit, and also still do this character work that she's doing, because as much as I'm going to be as nice as possible, it's going to take a little bit more for me to get excited for a Tamina match. And that's as nice as I can possibly say it. I love Tamina, but it's just,
Yeah, I think, look, let's be honest. And, I'll say this. I love Natalya as well. She's one of the nicest people I've ever met. Very generous with her time too. But like this whole angle that's been happening over the 3 weeks, it's not about Tamina, it's not about Natalya, it's about the Riot Squad and getting them over and getting them a bunch of wins, hopefully building them toward a championship matchup, and please, fingers crossed, a championship victory at some point. And also Billie Kay, just getting her more screen time. I don't know what the end game is with Billie Kay, but if it ends up with her being as like the manager of the Riot Squad,
I would love that.
I wouldn't hate that at all. And I'm trying to watch the Riot Squad in this matchup because I love both Liv and Ruby, and I can't pay attention to them because I'm paying attention to what Billie Kay is doing on the outside, where she's literally flip-flopping and giving advice to both teams and celebrating every move. And then when the Riot Squad wins the matchup, she runs out on the stage to celebrate with them.
It was so funny.
Give me 2 hours of Billie Kay. Like, seriously, give me her own talk show. Put a mic in her hand every week. She's great. I can't say enough great things about Billie Kay. I want more of her on my television screen.
I think, so you mentioned the idea of doing a talk show, right? I think what would also be fun is if they did like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something that would be funny, but you know how like they have, Bray Wyatt has his, Firefly Funhouse, right? Yeah. And remember when Breezango had their whole fashion police thing going on? Like, if she had something like that every week that you could look forward to, like, oh, this is the Billie Kay segment, like whatever creation that could possibly be. I would love something like that where like every week, you're going to get Billie Kay's hot minute. I don't know, something. I'm sure they can come up with a million ideas, but you know what I'm trying to get at here? Like something that we can have every single week with her.
Yeah. Oh God, you just reminded me of all the fashion files. Like that was.
Thank you, fashion files. That's what I was trying to think. I was like, what was it? Fashion police, fashion files, something. Yeah.
That was good stuff. And it got them over. But they didn't utilize them. At least they won the tag team championships finally in NXT, but now they're kind of off television again. I don't know. Anyway, but just give her something of substance. And I think she has shown that she has the talent to make it work. We did have 2 women's tag team matches tonight. We had a Bay Mella versus Banks and Bianca matchup. I thought this one was really fun. for only being their second time tagging together. Sasha and Bianca had some really, really great chemistry in this matchup. I thought all 4 women showed up pretty well in this. And you know what, though? The star was Reginald. Reggie.
Dude, he was showing off tonight.
Dude, you being able to do that in that suit, my God, man. Reggie's showing out. I
struggle getting out of this chair after the show, okay? And he was just bouncing. I didn't know he had it in him. I don't know much about him. So to be honest, this was new to me.
I really like where I hope that this is going, because Carmella and Bayley did get the win tonight. And yes, as Ozzy has pointed out numerous times, Carmella cheated to win again. Of course she does, because that's what she does when she's a heel. You know, I wasn't a fan of Ellsworth helping her win matches, because I just didn't, I don't know, either whether it was the chemistry,
especially like the Money in the Bank.
Right. Whether it was chemistry or the storyline or whatever, I didn't like her and Ellsworth together. But this new persona that she has, and this sommelier that they call him, Reginald, they've given him a name now. It just fits. It just works that she has a boy toy doing her bidding. I think the referee was a little like, oh yeah, sure, here's Reginald in the match doing 3 times. Like, I felt like she could have done more to break that up, or try to toss him out or something. Like, I felt like the distraction went on too long. Like, you don't need 3 distractions to win a matchup, but hey, right. it let him show his stuff. And at least Bianca Belair didn't eat a pin for the 3rd week in a row, but she did lose a matchup for the 3rd week in a row.
But the SmackDown Women's Champion did eat that pin.
She did. You know what? I honestly prefer that, because at least she's got some equity under her, and it wasn't a clean loss.
Champion.
I understand that.
Rick, she's the champion. Come on.
Denise,
you gotta make her look stronger.
Denise, this is WWE. If Carmella doesn't beat the champion to get a title match, how does it happen?
I don't want to see another title match with Carmella and Sasha.
Well,
I've seen it.
It's happening. You know that's the direction they're going. It looks like they're just going to continue this right up into the Royal Rumble. It's going to be Carmella. What if Carmella actually wins this championship of the Royal Rumble?
No, I would not. No. Rick, why do you do this to me?
I'm just throwing out hypotheticals. Denise, feel free to react. However,
then. What if Lars Sullivan comes out and wins the entire Royal Rumble? How would you like that, Rick? Would you like that?
I would stop the wrestling beat. I would stop it cold.
You would retire?
I would retire. I would be done. Thank you for reminding me of Lars Sullivan's existence. Damn you, Denise.
That's my 2021 prediction. Lars Sullivan wins the Royal Rumble.
Good show, everybody. That's it.
If that does happen, I would need your reaction on video.
There's some other stuff that happened tonight, but I just don't have the will to live anymore. So. No, but where I am hoping that this is going is and this is something I talked about, after when Carmella came back. This is now 2 straight matches that we have seen Bayley and Carmella tagging together. Now they got to win, including a pinfall victory over the women's champion. The women's tag team division, at least they're building up the Riot Squad now. I don't think Charlotte and Asuka are long to being a team together. At least I hope not, because eventually the spotlight has to go back onto Asuka and the Raw Women's Championship. I think Baymella could dominate the tag team division. That is a welcome addition. If it's Baymella and Reggie owning the women's tag team division for a while this summer, sign me the hell up.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I honestly wouldn't. Like I said, there's the SmackDown women's division is stacked. It's, again, we just had Sonya Deville come back tonight. There's still a lot of focus that they can do with those women, with Bianca, Sasha, Sonya. I want to see the Riot Squad, get hotter and hotter. I would like to see that for them. I would like to see them be taken seriously, not be left out of these tag team matches and then thrown into some random tag team matches just to give them a match and a win. Right. I would like to see a little bit more respect put to the Riot Squad.
Yes, wholeheartedly agree. Like, Liv Morgan in particular is just somebody who has been put through the ringer as far as, well, we're going to push you, but we're not. Oh, we got this idea for you. And no. And she's just been back and forth and up and down and doing whatever she can to get TV time. I feel like with the way that, because at least when they had the tag team matchup last week on SmackDown for the championships, they at least showed the Riot Squad backstage. Like they were eyeing out the competition. They at least acknowledged their presence. And even Corey Graves tonight, I believe, dropped the fact that they are trying to earn their way up to a championship opportunity. So it's being mentioned on television. Hopefully there are plans to get to that. And you know what? I think if somebody like the Riot Squad were the ones to beat Charlotte and Asuka for the tag team championships, that instantly elevates them to another level.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think if anybody, I would like to see them be champions. Like they have such a cool, unique look and they're fun and people genuinely like them. Like, let's do something with that.
Yeah. Going back to the comments here. Let's see. Rob, what happened to Aleister Black? Sure wish I could tell you. Not a clue. Haven't seen him since the draft. So he has been gone for 3 months, which is a shame because he was in the middle of a really interesting character shift. He got a new...
Oh, that was not interesting, Rick. That was not interesting. The whole eye thing and the badge, and he's just coming out and beating Kevin Owens up for no reason.
There were subtle changes that were happening that it looked...
It's no bueno.
They were trying to build towards something. And I did talk to Aleister Black, and he said he was really excited to show off this new character and this brand new huge entrance that went along great with the new theme that they gave him. And then, poof. He loses the match to Kevin Owens and he completely disappears. So,
Royal Rumble?
Possibly, maybe. I don't know. Unfortunately, I just don't know if they have any plans for him. I wish I knew. Let's see if maybe we'll get it, maybe not. Let's see. What is Natalya has as a monster heel runner, the person who beat I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're trying to say there. I don't know what
he's saying. Should we go back to that?
Yeah.
Saying that if Natalya gets a monster heel run, but whoever beats her is going to essentially make the boat sink because she calls herself the boat. And so the person who makes her sink would essentially be the new boat.
Fair enough.
Rick, come on, Rick.
Have I mentioned it's been a really long day, Denise? Like it's been a really, really long day. So we'll see. We'll see where everything goes from here, but it does appear that we are going to get Sasha and Carmella again at the Royal Rumble. Hopefully Bianca Belair.
I don't mind it at the Royal Rumble only because it's always so much looking forward to the actual Rumble matches that you can get away with not necessarily having the hottest, one-on-one match. I mean, that's my only excuse. I can't think of anything else.
You got to do something. And I can't believe that we're only 30 days away from the Royal Rumble, but we are only 30 days from the Royal Rumble. So it's like, who else do you pick? If it's not Carmella, if you don't continue the story that you've been telling for the last, 4 weeks or so, where else do you go? Bianca Belair obviously is on a bit of a losing streak right now. It's not her. We all kind of hope she's one of the favorites to win the Royal Rumble. So you want her in that matchup. I guess you could hotshot it to Sonya Deville, but the same thing with her back. You want her in the Royal Rumble because we hope that she's one of the ones that can win the Royal Rumble as well. So I really don't think they have any other option but to continue this to the Royal Rumble and then move forward after that pay-per-view is over, because you don't want the Royal Rumble and not have Sasha Banks be on the card.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You absolutely want her on the card. So things are going to be interesting moving forward. We did get a couple of men's tag team matches as well, including the new Intercontinental Champion, Big E. Now, he took on King Corbin in a singles matchup. That was ended up in a no disqualification, or ended up in a DQ, excuse me, when Sami Zayn got involved. That ended up in a tag team matchup. Like I said, this is what got me thinking of the Teddy Long Memorial, because these guys started throwing down, and all of a sudden it's a tag team match, playa. Corbin ends up ditching Sammy in this matchup. Apollo hits a spinning powerbomb, which is a really sweet move. Really, really sweet move on Sammy. Although I got to be honest, I would have preferred the other ending. I like the other ending that they were setting up there, where Sammy could have hit that surprise haluva kick as Apollo was delivering the back elbows. But considering the matchup that they set up later for next week, Big E versus Apollo for the Intercontinental Championship, I get why they did that. I was happy to see them do something with Apollo, because much like Aleister Black, like at least we've seen Apollo on television, but much like Aleister Black, since being drafted over SmackDown, hasn't done anything. Big E versus Apollo next week, that match is going to slap.
Yeah, so when with this whole thing tonight, I kind of wish that they would have made Big E look like a stronger competitor. I think given that he just won the title, I thought that today would have been a nice, way for him to either get a win in that Baron Corbin match or get a win in that tag team match. But he wasn't the one that actually, got the win. Yeah. However, once they started teasing the thing with Apollo Crews, I thought, okay, that's fine. At least they're going to go that direction now. But I would have preferred a stronger first week as champion for Big E. And I don't really feel that we got that. So that kind of worries me a little bit, just because I do want to see Big E become, a champion that, can get its full run, its full potential. And so it does kind of worry me what we saw tonight. But I mean, it's just 1 week, but still, I think he should have looked stronger his first week.
I know it ended in a disqualification, but he won that match. He had Corbin beat. We knew Corbin wasn't going to kick out of the big ending. That match was over. It was a win. They did the DQ to set up the tag team match, which technically, by the way, he did also win. I understand what you're talking about, but it's not like this was a bad week where he lost lost a match or he lost 2 matches.
But that 1, 2, 3 would have felt a lot better, a lot stronger.
It would have. They could have had Big E beat King Corbin and still done the beatdown with the Knights of the Lone Wolf or whatever they're talking about. I'm not the only person to make this joke, but the Lone Wolf doesn't travel alone anymore. This name doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not even, I don't feel close to what they're doing right now with Baron Corbin. I'm just whatever. It's just something that I'm seeing on my television.
I don't know what's going on here, but
Sean's calling me out when I'm not even there and I'm busy working.
Wow.
Wait, Sean always calls me out when I'm not around to defend myself. I'm here busy being a working woman, trying to put on a great show with Rick Ucchino, and Sean's calling me out.
Oh, man, that's so weird. Kind of like you calling me out last week when I wasn't here.
Okay, but it was on our show, though. On our show. That is okay. I called you out on our show, on our turf. That is different. That is so different.
I'm sure it is, even though I wasn't here.
Actually, Rick, you should be upset too.
What?
Yeah. Sean was calling you out on Wednesday too.
What?
On the Listing Your Girl. Because I filled in for Jimmy Van. Yeah. And he basically said, Jimmy Van pulled out a Rick Ucchino. So now whenever someone calls out to work, they're pulling a Rick Ucchino. And I did not start that. Sean started that.
Well, you know what? I did hear Sean, giving me crap, questioning my work ethic on Twitter. I would like to say that I did pull an 8-hour shift today and then flew like a bat out of hell on my drive home while still watching SmackDown on my phone to get here, plug in my camera, and do this show tonight, Denise. I could have very easily said, you know what, screw it, let's let Denise fly solo, or we'll get, Ryan or Greg or somebody in here. But no, come hell or high water, I was here tonight to do this show. So don't question my work authority, Sean Rossap.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I was here, Rick, on Christmas Day by myself, entertaining the masses here. Wow.
Yeah. We've been infiltrated.
You know what? The FTF movement is bogus.
I think we need to come up with our own slogan. I'm not that intelligent to come up with it on the fly, but I'll start thinking.
No, nobody cares. Nobody cares about Sean. Sean sucks. Sean sucks, sap.
Speaking of things that sucked, let's move on to one of the other tag team things. This Street Profits segment tonight was a total flop for me. Usually I think that they can pull anything out. They got some bad writing tonight that they just absolutely could not pull together. They should have just let Angelo watch the Ohio State game. I know he's a big Buckeyes fan. Last time I checked, they were crushing Clemson, so good for them. They should have just let him do that. But what I did like tonight was what I saw out of Rude and Ziggler. I did. I did. That was a new level of aggression, and all of a sudden, in the promo they cut afterwards, all of a sudden, I take them seriously now as a tag team.
I'm still not there yet. I'm not easily impressed by just one segment one night. I need a lot more. I think for me, they're still coming like in the nicest way possible. They're still coming across to me as vanilla. I need something way more to be interested in them as a tag team.
Would winning the SmackDown Tag Team Championships?
No, because I don't believe that the belt makes a man and the man makes the belt, Rick. Or the men make the belt in this case.
The men make the belt. Look, the Street Profits the Street Profits have had an incredible run as tag team champions, you know, both with Raw and then over to SmackDown as well. So eventually, though, they have to lose the belts to somebody. Maybe it's the Usos.
Good, not just for the fact that they need to lose the belts.
I understand that. So maybe they're biding time into the Usos. But again, I've always been a Robert Roode guy too, by the way. So I think it's nice to see them doing something of substance with him. I would prefer to see him in a singles role, but you know, I'll just say this. I liked what I saw out of them tonight. Let's see how things progress. But what did you think of their dirty dog shirts? The dirty dogs.
I thought it was pretty nice. I thought it was fine, but like I said, I'm just not really feeling it. I'm out on this one. I'm out.
I am gonna buy a dirty dog shirt. I'm on a roll with buying t-shirts as of late. I don't know how or why. I have a second kid. I shouldn't be spending money on anything.
True. And you're not showing up to work, Rick. You have a new kid and you're spending money. Did you get your stimulus check?
I did actually.
Same.
I did. And here's the thing, like it was different this time around, I guess, because Rebecca, my 2-year-old, got a stimulus check.
Yeah, the kids get stimulus checks too.
Yeah, but the last time it was like the parents get it, and then you got like 200 extra for like for a dependent or something like that. So this time around, they actually just gave Rebecca the full 600. I didn't realize that.
Oh, I don't know. I don't have kids. I have no idea.
Hey, actually, I need to contact the IRS because my son was born and should be in the system. Can I get an extra 600 retroactive for Ray? Because he was alive on the 16th. They didn't sign that bill until afterwards. I got a bone to pick. Y'all owe me an extra $600.
That's true. That's definitely true.
All right, we are kind of running out of time here, Denise. Daniel Bryan and Otis got a win over Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro tonight. I
love that team up of Daniel and Otis, and with Gable doing his, cheerleading on the side. I love this. I actually thought they brought in some really nice energy.
I look, the energy was great, but I just weep for where Shinsuke is right now. I think he's been slotted. Like, that's it. He's the Shinsuke that we're getting right now. That's what we're gonna keep getting, and I have no hope. Do you have hope, Rick? No, I don't. He should have beat AJ Styles for the WWE Championship, and I will die on that hill. Maybe not at WrestleMania, but he should have won it in the 6 or 7 months prior that those two were just trading nut shots instead of doing anything else of any substance whatsoever. That's all that they turned AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura into a game of Rochambeau, and it just ticks me off.
It was terrible, and I don't think Shinsuke should have became champion off of that.
He should have won it at WrestleMania. He should have won it at WrestleMania. They should have kept him a babyface. There was one thing, and I know this is something that's been brought up in the comments. I'm not even going to go back to the comments because it has been dominated now by FTF. It is just flooded.
Isn't Sean hosting his own show?
I guess maybe he I guess, does he have moles? Does he have spies? Does he have people that are hitting us up right now? I'm not sure.
Yeah, seriously. I feel like they should be doing their own show and not watching ours.
Benjamin with a score update, 42-21. All right, good for Ohio State there. But one of the things that was advertised for tonight was the return of Seth Rollins, and then that didn't happen, Denise.
So we got Sonya Deville instead, so we can't complain.
We did, but how do you do that? How do you promote? This sounds like something that I'm willing to bet this is how it went down, right? So like Seth, because they have to record that promo for the NFL games on Fox, right? They got sick of the announcers doing it and just botching names and this, that, and the other thing because the football announcers don't know a damn thing about wrestling. So they had Michael Cole start recording these pre-recorded things. I'm willing to bet Seth Rollins was watching like the Bears game or something this weekend, saw that he was supposed to be coming back on SmackDown and went, nah, dude, nah, bubba, nah, my time ain't up yet. Made a phone call and was like, that's it, I'm out. Like, that had to be it, right? Like, that
would actually be pretty hilarious. You're sitting at home watching the game. Hey, you got to go to work and the TV's telling you that.
That would be like me turning on 700 WLW on my time off and being like, oh, and Rick Ucchino is going to be back this Friday. No, I ain't. Not last Friday. I was back today, but it is. Denise, we are out of time. It has been fun. It's so great to be back in the saddle and doing talking the wrestling beat again. I look forward to many more Friday nights with you, Denise. It is 21 now. You've accomplished so much.
Wait, it's 21. Rick, what year are you in?
I don't know. Like I said, it's been a day. It's 2021 now. You yourself accomplished a lot in 2020. What more is there for Denise Salcedo to accomplish in 2021? Do you have more goals, miss?
I have 31 goals for 2021. Ooh. They're all written out on my notes app. Every year I do notes. They're all in there. 31 goals that I have to accomplish for this year. Now, if I'm going to do them, I have no idea.
It would take me the entire year to come up with 31 goals. How did you I
break it down. I have categories. I have like finance goals. I have like health goals. I have like career goals. I break things down. I have life goals in general. Like things are separated into category. You'd be surprised how many goals you can come up with if you do it that way.
Interesting. I have the same 3 from last year.
What are they?
My chunky gut needs to go away. I need to drop some down. I have been to the gym every day this year so far, and I'm very, very proud of myself for that. I want to grow my very modest Twitter following. You can follow me at Rick Ucchino.
I was dying when you put I lost followers since this.
Yeah, Denise, who was like 5 hours left in the whole year, says, well, I'm 450 shy of 13,000. I'm not going to get there. 2 hours later, you get there. Meanwhile, like, hey, I'm only 20 away from 1,700, which is my goal, and I lost 3 followers.
Well, you know, I'm actually closer now to 14K than I was to 13K.
Yeah, I know. You pick up more followers in a week than I have followers. It's ridiculous. Well deserved, but I hate you. So
you know what? I accept that because jealousy is the best form of that's a good friend, Rick. I consider you a good friend now.
Awesome, great. I hate you. My goal is to double my very small following from like 1,600 to 33. So that would be great if I could accomplish that this year. And then the same one that I've had for 3 years. I want to interview Becky Lynch if and when the time is right. So that's I got to talk to a lot of great superstars last year. I'm very happy for that. But that's the bucket list. Number 1 on my list. I will literally drive to whatever city she's in when she makes her comeback to do that one. If you're listening, WWE, I really want to do that. We appreciate everybody tuning in. 1 down, 51 more to go for 2021, everybody. We will be back next week, right after SmackDown here on Sportskeeda Wrestling, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Have a lovely weekend.